Hey,
Love it.
fam. Welcome to the episode of The Good, Bad, and Ugly about real estate. Got a great guest for you, a good friend of mine, Alexa. Woo! Welcome to the show, Alexa. How are you?
Thank you, Jose, for having me. I'm doing well. I'm honored to be here.
The honor is mine. So, for the audience, Alexa is one of the realtors that I use in my real estate investing. She helped me purchase properties up in Minnesota, which is where she's from. And with that being said, can you go ahead? We'll start the episode like we normally do. Share a little bit about yourself, how your journey in real estate, how you got into it, why you chose real estate, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, well, I live in Minnesota. I reside in Minnesota, but I am from Texas. And I moved up here to Minnesota back in 2016 for school. I met my husband here. He's from here. And we got married in Mexico, actually.
Oh
But then,
wow!
chose to live in Minnesota. We bought a house here. I started my business or my real estate career back in 2020 during the COVID craziness era.
Right,
I did not know. I knew I wanted to open a business. I have entrepreneurship in my background,
right,
and I knew I wanted to open a business. I just didn't know what it was gonna be or what it was gonna look like. Um, Both my parents are business owners, my grandparents are business owners, but with different things. And so I didn't know what I was gonna do. But my mom challenged me to get my license for real estate.
okay,
She's like, "Oh, you would be great at it." But I just know that, I mean, I knew back then that real estate was a monster. And that's been confirmed working in the industry now. It's a
right,
monster. And it can be very intimidating. But you know what? I took the leap of faith and I got my license. And thankfully, my business has done very well since getting started. And I will be celebrating 5 years this September, which is a huge milestone because people in this industry, when
don't last
they
that long.
start, they don't last, they don't make it that long. So very grateful to be here. Yeah, and
Wow,
now I'm licensed in Texas as well.
right.
Yes.
I think you lasted this long just because of your work ethic. I mean, like I said, you and I have worked together, and this is more for the audience than for you, but um, all the extra that you did for me when I was looking for properties. I mean, I still remember the one house where you had to drive up and down the street because it was so sketchy, and and then dealing with some of the houses where you had a squatter in the house.
Uh,
So um, going
First and
above
last.
going above and beyond is an understatement for the service you provide to your clients. So I am not surprised that you're still one of the ones that are sticking around for a long time. So,
Well,
but I
thank you.
know for about you is you do have relatives in the real estate world, right? Because your uncle is a realtor in
My uncle's a
Houston,
realtor in Houston.
has license. Is
My
anybody else?
mom is a low-key realtor in Dallas as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you got a little bit of real estate history back in there. So, but your mom kind of pushed you to it, but what made you say, okay, this is something that I want to stick with? What was it that kept you going in real estate?
I think so many things. It has been a great income resource for my family.
Hmm.
And now with my little one, with my 4-month old, it's made my life very flexible to be present and to still be able to serve and help so many people.
Right.
Um, and still have a good income for my household. And then also, I used to live in Kenya, Africa,
Oh wow.
and I witnessed firsthand the poverty and difficulty a lot of people face. And a lot of that, I mean, in Kenya, I saw a lot of people not being able to prosper financially, and it started with their household, with their home. I mean,
Right.
they live in these four walls little box house. It's really
Right.
just a bedroom, and the bathroom is outside. And they don't even own that little square. They
Oh,
rent it.
yeah.
and there's no chance to own or to do so. And being here in the States, even, just so many people that haven't been given the opportunity to own their own home. um and the opportunity is there, especially if you live in the US, right?
Right.
The opportunity is there. We just don't have we're not educated enough to know that you are able to own your own home. And really, that is generational wealth if you have your own property rather than paying someone else's mortgage or paying for someone else's property. And so I just got very passionate about that, and passionate in being able to educate my generation and educate a lot of Hispanics, because I also work with a lot of Hispanics, and helping them achieve that long life dream that even past generations or past, ancestors have dreamt about, and they never accomplished it. So it's been, yeah, so that was another reason why I chose to stick out with the career, because it has given me the opportunity to help so many individuals, couples, families to have their own house, which for a simple American that might look like easy peasy, but for an immigrant or for someone that comes from another country, that's a big thing, a big deal.
So that's something I didn't know about you. What kind of, because the people that usually or I expect to watch this channel are maybe aspiring investors or people that are just kind of like kicking tires and wanting to, just learn something but never really use it. But
Mhm.
there may be somebody that's watching this that um, is a renter and wants to own a property or a home. And so, what kind of how do you educate people on how they can get into homes, since that seems to be your specialty?
Well, absolutely. It definitely depends on where you live, where you are. Here in Minnesota and in Texas, um, the government wants to help people buy a house, get into a house, and they give out these grants or home buying assistance for these people to be able to give a down payment and to be able to pay their closing costs. That's a huge way that they can receive help in order to be able to buy a house. Another big educational piece is letting you know that you don't need a big down payment to buy a house. You don't need a 20%. You can buy a house with as little as 3.5% or even 3%, depending on the type of loan that you get approved for. Um, yeah, and really, I mean, nowadays, at least the loan officers that I work with, they are also very passionate in helping clients get a house. So they will think outside the box. If we're hitting a wall or it seems like we're underwater, we will think outside the box for your specific situation to help you get a loan and help you get into a house.
Awesome. So this next question, be nice. Okay, be nice. As a realtor, what has been your experience working with investors?
You know, pros and cons. Working with you has been a pro because we've been able to get work done.
Right.
Working with other investors, sometimes you do get work done, other times it is dead underwater. Um, but it really does open up the opportunity to learn about different ways of strategizing, different ways of handling deals, to even get to know more. I mean, working with you, I was able to get to know a lot of the big landlords that are here in Minneapolis.
Right.
Funny enough, one of my friends, her father-in-law is one of those big landlords, which I had no idea, and I don't think I would have ever figured that out if I hadn't been working with you.
Right.
But it does add more tools to my belt working with
Right.
investors. But you do have to be um, discerning, wise. What investors you say yes to, what investors, you've been doing it for a long time, so you're a well experienced and professional investor. There's other people that are just getting started and they really have no idea what they're doing. So it's
Scary.
being discerning on, okay, am I going to work with, a rookie that's might stick it out or might not stick it out, or am I going to
Right.
work with someone that's been doing it for a while and this is what they do and they know what they're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so since you and I have worked together, I've added another kind of tool to my tool belt, which is creative financing. And I know here
Okay.
in Colorado, how can I put this? The agents have been told to kind of steer away from it. So my question to
Mm.
you is, have you worked with investors that have offered creative solutions or offers to sellers? And as a realtor, what is your take on that? If you were to receive one, if you were representing somebody that was selling, how would you? What's your opinion of receiving one of those? And then maybe as a buyer agent, how would like, would you put that one forward?
I have worked with buyers that have worked with investors with creative financing, not on the sell side yet or on the list side. But I'm all for it if it helps that buyer get the house that they want. Because I mean, sometimes the traditional way is not, I mean, doesn't work for them or they don't qualify for one reason or another.
Right.
So I have done that here many times. I
Awesome.
know that more and more is coming out about it. And like to your point, people are educating or telling agents don't do it.
Right.
But in my case, I work with a lot of I-10 clients. It's harder for them to get traditional financing and they do need a way higher down payment and the interest rate is skyrocketing for them. So sometimes the best route is creative financing directly with an investor.
So it's interesting you say that, and maybe we'll take this offline. But just so you know, the new community that I work with, we have solutions for them. We're
Mm,
doing what they call a wrap mortgage.
okay.
So
We definitely
after
want to, yeah,
that's that's a different topic for the audience, but for you and me, we'll have a discussion about that. So
I love that.
you know
Perfect.
that you have that option to offer your clients, and then it gives us another reason or another opportunity to work with each other.
Absolutely. Yes.
So in your career, you always have some good times and bad times.
Oh,
Can you share a kind of a good experience that you had in your journey, and then maybe like one of your nightmare um, experiences, so that kind of show the both sides of real estate. A lot of people, they go with gurus and all they want to show is the shiny nickel, that, oh, look how great this is, but they never really kind of show that dark side of real estate. So if you could share your experiences, that'd be great.
well, should we start with the good or the bad?
Whichever one you want. It's your show.
We'll start with the bad so that we end up with the good.
There you go.
Such a
Sounds
good
good.
note. Um, I think again in this industry it offers a, a lot of opportunities to connect with a lot of different people and just financially it's a great source of income for me and my family, but there's a flip side to that, right?
Mhm.
We don't receive we don't get paid until we close a deal.
Right.
And so that could be, for some people that could be next week, for others that could be next month, for others it could take months to be able to get your next paycheck.
Right.
Um, and so, however, you always, at least myself, I always want to be have the client first and have their needs first before my needs. Because if you think about your needs before the client's needs, then you've lost in the transaction. But if you think about their needs first, you're winning here. And honestly, that makes my work a lot more enjoyable if I do get to just focus and gaze my eyes on them and their needs. But there has been two incidents where you work your butt off for a client and you can get paid eventually or you just don't get paid, and it's happened twice where I just completely don't get paid um, because the client pulled the rug right from under me.
Oh,
And
wow.
one of those clients unfortunately was a friend, or I thought it was, that person was a friend.
Right.
The client was a referral from another Remax agent from another country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She was like, "Yeah, I found you online. It looks like you could be a good fit for these clients that are looking for a house in Minnesota for their daughter, blah, blah, blah. And would you be willing to help them?" And I said, "Of course, I'd be more than happy, especially because they're Latinos, and I'm
Right.
all about helping my Latino community." And yeah, I looked tirelessly for a place for them. They were here in person. We looked and looked and looked, and nothing. They were a little particular, and that's fine. I can work with that.
Right.
But finally, I found them the house that met all their check marks and criteria, and we went under contract.
Okay.
And we were weeks away from closing, and this was a different type of financing because they weren't from here, they were international, so they were foreigners. So it was a different type of financing, and the loan officer said, "We can close as long as you can show me that you have X amount of money in your account." And so you have to deposit that money in that account. And they just wouldn't. They kept holding off from depositing that money.
Hmm.
And it was like they were like dangling the carrot in front of
Right.
me and in front of the loan officer. And they wanted a huge cut on the price, which I had already gotten them that cut. They wanted a lot of closing costs, seller concessions for their closing costs, which I had gotten them a lot of that as well. Um, but we were past negotiation. We had already gone past the inspection period. So we were not in any position to negotiate or ask for more money out of the blue. It's not even because of anything. It's just literally they woke up one morning and they're like, "We want more money." And we're like, "So we're sorry, we can't." And I even tried, trying
Right.
to see if they would try to give more for closing costs, but the seller was like, "No, why? Why would I do that?" And so then they weren't following through with what they needed to do in order to get the loan closed. So it was the day before closing, and they were like, "Nope, we're not doing it. We're not closing." And we're done. And so then they stopped all sorts of communication with me, with the lender that was working with them as well. And they just went and found another realtor and another lender.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. Which it made me look bad in front of that other realtor with the listings.
Right.
But I mean, my broker got involved, and they're like, "There's nothing we can do. The loan didn't go through.
Right.
And anything you could have done." The loan officer, you know, the underwriter was like, "Yeah, as long as you can prove that the money is there by the end of the day, then we'll give you the loan." So it should have been more on them to not even giving us the pre-approval. But
Right.
so and so with my other story with the other friend, something very similar happened where, they were upset about, it wasn't going their way in the sense that they wanted more money from the seller. But in this case, they were really good friends with the loan officer. So the loan officer was just like, "Okay, well, since we can't legally cancel because of
Right.
these reasons, we'll just say it's financial. We'll just say you couldn't get the loan." And so then they did that. And then they went out and worked with another realtor, um, 10 days after. And they closed on another house 10 days after, um, canceling the transaction with me on this side. So that was a little bit hurtful for sure. But I mean, you got to be discerning on who you take on as a client. And I think I've learned a lot from that. Like you said, the nickel might look shiny, but it's not always the best option or the best opportunity for you to take on.
Right. So,
Yeah.
question for you on that story, because I know when you and I worked together, I signed an exclusivity agreement with you. Did that not, because I was a friend, did you not have them sign that?
No, they both did.
Oh, they did.
They both did. So they breached the contract.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you didn't
So
pursue it, I'm assuming?
Remax wanted to.
Yeah,
Remax wanted to, but it would have affected my name as well.
sure.
And I didn't want to take on that drama. But Remax wanted to because I mean that exclusive contract is with them as well.
Right,
So it's like we're not like not just you're not getting paid, but the company is not getting paid either. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
That was
interesting.
the bad.
Yeah, I
It's
would say that's pretty
kind
bad.
of.
Well,
But
it's a good one.
yeah, and the good has to be, honestly, the good happens pretty much every day, especially on the closing table with the client, especially with first time home buyers. And again, a lot of my clientele are Hispanics, that have moved from, another country to here. And this is like the dream to buy a house in the US.
Right,
And there's been so many tears, so many times from clients being so grateful that, this opportunity even came to them. And if you know me, Jose, I will follow up. I will reach out. I will. It's on me to reach out. It's on me to follow up. It's on me to pursue you as the client.
right,
And some people are about that. Others are like, no, thank you. We'll reach out when we're ready. But I have had multiple responses, positive responses from clients being like, thank you for reaching out. Because if you hadn't, we would have given up on this dream and we would have not ended up buying because we didn't think it was possible.
right.
And yeah, so a lot of good stories from clients that have bought their first house. A lot of children buying a house for their parents has, yeah, a lot of good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, if you had to give a word of advice to somebody that's watching this, as far as being involved in real estate and a nugget that you learned in your journey, what would that be?
To a buyer or an investor or both?
Just to like, because who knows who's watching this, right? Like I said, it could be
Absolutely.
somebody who is aspiring to be in a real estate. Maybe they want to be a realtor. Maybe they want to be an investor. Um, as a realtor, that's something I didn't ask you. As far as I know, you focus on being a realtor, but are you an investor yourself? Have you looked into buying investment properties?
Not yet, but I want to. We
Yeah,
want to, my husband and I, but not yet.
that's okay. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So, you know, in the time that you've been involved with real estate, what is something that is a lesson learned for you that you think other people can
Could benefit
benefit from?
from. Yeah, I think, I mean, again, this industry is a monster and anyone can put on the investor badge and anyone can get the realtor license, but it's not for everyone.
Right.
You really do have to analyze the risk that come with it, the costs, the initial big investment that come with it, your support system, your coaching, your mentors. You gotta have all, a good support system if you're gonna go into the business because it's it can be very intimidating. All the contracts involved, the legal that's involved. As you know, Jose, so much happens behind the scenes that nobody knows about, and they won't tell you that.
Right.
So, I mean, until you're going through it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've gone through that too." So, just really analyze if you are, first of all, disciplined enough to start your own business and stick it out, stick it through, and show up every day for yourself, for your family, for your clients. You are your own boss, so you cannot be waiting around for someone to tell you what to do. You just gotta do it and stay disciplined. Second of all, do you have the capital to invest on things that you saw coming and things that you did not see coming?
Right.
Um, and third, do you have that support system that's gonna help you get up, help you move forward? And when you start doubting, your career, your life choices, that support system that will remind you your why you chose to be here, why you chose to become an investor, to become a realtor. Um, yeah, anyone can do it, but it's not for everyone.
Sure.
But if you're someone that wants to do it, I would say go for it, but also not don't go for it just emotionally, but go for it with your mind, knowing what you're getting yourself into. Because if you work it the right way, it can really benefit you. It can really bless you for the good.
Right.
But if you're not aware of, you know, the what comes with being an investor and with being a realtor, then it could really come and bite you and affect you. Yeah.
So on that note, you know, you talk about a support system for the audience out there. Your agents is also part of your support system. They're also a great team member.
Mm-hmm.
They can make or break your business. That's why I brought Alexa on here. She was so invaluable to me when I invested for the first time out of state, and she worked her butt off for me. And so, not only that, I want you guys to know her story, but also to give her an opportunity to put herself out there. If you guys are ever buying in Texas or in Minnesota, this is the agent that you want to work with, because I tell you, she does more than most agents will, and she'll make sure that you find the right property for you.
Mm.
So if somebody wants to do that, how do they get in touch with you so they can work with you on their dreams?
For sure. I'm, via text, my phone number, or via email, or through my social media platform, Instagram, Facebook. Honestly, anywhere. I'm reachable through any source.
All right, no worry about it, guys. I know she didn't mention it, but I will put all that contact information into the description of the video, so you don't have to replay it, and we'll make sure that you're able to get a hold of her. So on that note, Alexa, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you coming out and talking with us, sharing your journey, sharing your knowledge and your experience. To the audience out there, thanks for coming back for another episode,
Mhm.
and we'll see you on the next one.
See you in the next one. Thank you, Jose. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.